Hello crafty friends, Dawn here. Today I'm sharing how I made a quick and easy shaker card. I stamped the image so that it's on the inside of the shaker window, which makes putting this card together very easy. I'm using the Whimsy Stamps Make-A-Wish stamp set. This is a very big stamp set, so I actually had to cut it apart to fit it in my clear plastic sleeve. I'm going to be using the cake in the stamp set. It does have a matching die set that is sold separately. I'm pairing it up with the shaker rectangle die, which makes making shaker cards an absolute breeze. And I'm also going to be using the Happy Birthday sentiment from the Unicorn Kisses stamp set. So let's get started. The first thing I want to do is stamp my image onto a piece of white cardstock. I am stamping it directly onto my A2 size card base, but you might want to stamp it onto a separate piece of white cardstock and then adhere it onto the card base. Otherwise, the Copic markers will bleed onto the inside of the card. This didn't bother me, but I wanted to tell you this before you started the card in case it bothers you. Okay, now I die cut 6 of the rectangles out from white cardstock. These are what will make my shaker card walls. You could use foam tape as well, but I chose to cut out the frames instead. I take one of the frames and I put it around my stamp because I need to measure the space inside the rectangle to leave enough room to add the candle on the top of the cake. Once I have the cake where I want it to go, then I can remove the frame. I stamped the image with a black Copic-friendly ink because I will be using my Copic markers to color it in. After I stamp the cake, I line the candle up so that the edge of it overlaps the top of the cake so it looks like it's sitting on the cake. And then I'm going to quickly color in my image. I'm not doing anything special for the coloring, so I'll just quickly go through the colors I'm using. I colored the dish and the candle with B01 Mint Blue. I colored the melted part of the candle with Y21 Buttercup Yellow. I colored the flame with Y17 Golden Yellow. I made an outline around the tops of all the cakes with Y17 Golden Yellow, and then I colored in the rest of the cake with Y21 Buttercup Yellow. I outlined the frosting with R85 Rose Red, and then I went and colored in the rest of the frosting with the R32 Peach. I will say once the Copic marker sat for a while, my frosting wasn't as bright pink as I thought it was going to be. It still looks nice, but I was looking to match the colors in my confetti, which are more of a brighter pink. I could have changed the confetti, but I really wanted to use that particular confetti, but I was still happy with the way it turned out. Here I'm just stacking 5 of my frames on top of each other. This is what's going to build my shaker walls, so I did make it 5 layers high so that the confetti can move around freely. Then I used some double-sided adhesive tape all around the edge of the top frame. Whenever I'm working with acetate, I try to use double-sided tape to adhere the acetate because whenever I use glue, it gets all over the acetate. Does this only happen to me or does it happen to anyone else? I'm just curious. Okay, I cut a piece of acetate a little bit smaller than the frames and I adhere it onto the double-sided tape. I add more double-sided tape on top of the acetate, but this time closer to the edge because I'm going to adhere my other frame on top of the acetate. I do add a little bit of glue this time just in case I have to move the frame around, but it's not enough to actually make a mess. It just makes it a little bit easier to add the frame so that it slides a little bit. Okay, here comes the fun part. You get to add these shaker bits. I'm using ThisCallsforConfetti, and it's the Cozy Winter Mix Pack. It has lots of great colors, and I'm just going to pour a little bit on top of my cake. I did pour a little bit too much, so I'm going to take a little bit of it out. I'm not looking to have a bunch of shaker stuff inside the window because I want the cake to be the focal point and the confetti is just meant to be in the background. I just add a little bit of glue drops randomly around the cake, and I'm putting some of the confetti onto the glue drops. This way, when you hold the card up to read it, all the confetti doesn't fall to the bottom of the card. Now I'm going to attach the frame over the top of the confetti. I do use a little bit of glue for this part as well. It actually makes it much easier in case you have to move the frame around on your card base to kind of line it up evenly on all sides. To finish off the card, I want to heat emboss the happy birthday sentiment onto some black cardstock. So I rub my paper with my embossing powder bag. I stamp the sentiment with Versamark ink, and then I'm going to pour gold embossing powder on it. And when my heat tool is good and hot, I'm going to heat emboss the sentiment, and I make sure to keep moving the heat tool around so that it doesn't burn my paper. I cut the sentiment down to size, and then I put foam tape on the back of it and I adhere it to the front of the card. And that's going to complete my card for today. You could put any image in the shaker window. It doesn't have to be a cake. And you can make a variety of different types of cards. And the best part is that it's super quick and super easy to make. I hope you enjoyed this card. I want to thank you for joining me on the Whimsy Stamps YouTube channel. I would love for you to leave a comment below and let me know what you think of the card. Be sure to subscribe to the Whimsy Stamps YouTube channel and their other social media platforms so you don't miss out on any of their upcoming releases and great inspirational videos. Also, check out their website for all their new releases. As always, thanks for stopping by and have yourself a wonderful day.